It's Monday, July 31st, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we're going to chat with Hyannis West Principal Kathy Amato. She's going to tell us all about the Kindergarten Jumpstart program. Then we'll find out how the Cotuit Cavaliers are faring this season with President Paul Logan. And finally, we'll chat with Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority Administrator Tom Kerr. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. Eversource hopes to increase rates for electricity delivery by 7%. The electric company says the increase is due to higher operating and maintenance costs. The Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities will hold a public hearing on that proposal at Cape Cod Community College Wednesday, August 2nd at the Tilden Arts Center at 7 p.m. All are encouraged to attend. The school committee will discuss the superintendent's evaluation during its meeting this week. Superintendent of Schools Meg Mayo-Brown recently completed her first full year working with the district. The school committee will also discuss the Memorandum of Understanding with the Barnstable Community Horace Mann Charter Public School. The school committee meets this Wednesday, August 2nd at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall hearing room. That meeting will air live right here on Channel 18. The Barnstable Economic Development Commission will discuss the importance and benefits of marketing outreach. The commission will also host a discussion of the draft of recommendations for economic development initiatives. The draft was written by Commissioner Hartley Jones. The Barnstable Economic Development Commission meets tomorrow, Tuesday, August 1st at 8 a.m. in the Selectmen's Conference Room. Up next, we will chat with Hyannis West Principal Kathy Amato. So Kathy, thank you so much for joining me today. Very excited to learn a little bit more about the Kindergarten Jumpstart program at Hyannis West Elementary School. Tell me a little bit about why this program began. I think you said earlier it started about 5 years ago?
It did. Traditionally, we had a more traditional summer school program years ago where students in grades 1 through 3 would come for a couple weeks in the summer, actually more like 4 weeks in the summer, and they would get some academic support and intervention over the summer. But what we found was the attendance was very sporadic and it was not consistent. So they really weren't getting the benefit of summer school, our summer program, that was provided to them by Title I funding, which Hyannis West is a Title I school based on our economically disadvantaged population and percentage. So we sit with the assistant superintendent every spring and we say, how is it going? You know, because she's in charge of the Title I funding, and says, how is it going? What needs to change? Is there anything that needs to change? So we noticed that because of the sporadic attendance of our first to third graders, that it wasn't beneficial. So we said, where's the need? What's another need that we could help you support? So what we found, surprisingly, is our incoming kindergartners, or the kindergarten that we had starting in September, were really having the most behavior problems. And that's surprising to a lot of people. But it was mainly because they didn't go to preschool and they didn't have those readiness skills to start kindergarten in September. So we were finding a lot of behavior issues, and we said, you know what, let's try a program for any incoming kindergartner, regardless of whether they've had preschool or not, to just see if we can boost their readiness skills and maybe decrease some anxiety for when they start kindergarten, they can be successful.
Right, it's so interesting too, because if a student hasn't gone to preschool or that school environment, they may just not be familiar with some of the day-to-day typical items or tasks that they would have to do, lining up, sitting quietly.
Exactly.
What kind of skills are they learning? And tell me a little bit too, how long is the program?
Right, well, it's a 2-week program, so it goes for 10 days total, and it's 4 hours a day. And they get to come, and they come on a bus, so that's exciting. It's their first bus ride for pretty much all of them. So that's part of it, is bus safety, sitting safely on the bus. It starts basic like that. And then it's coming into school, being able to sit and attend to a task at a table or a desk. It's raising your hand if you need something. It's walking in a line, just transitioning from one task to another. It's sharing, taking turns. Some students haven't had that peer interaction either, so it's working with others and working cooperatively, stopping when you're asked to stop, and cleaning up, and it's really like your basic readiness and school skills.
I would think too, you mentioned a little bit easing that transition, maybe taking off some of the nerves. I mean, kids may be really nervous to ride the bus for the first time. They may be really overwhelmed going into school for the first time. So having a nice, quiet sort of start to things is probably very beneficial. Have you seen those behavioral issues in kindergarten start to decrease after the program was instituted?
We absolutely have. And just a small story is, for example, another skill that's taught is our school-wide quiet signal. We ring a chime. All the classrooms have it. You ring a chime and the students are quiet just to get their attention. And so they learn that in the Jump Start program. And so from day one at school, we have close to 50 students that have already been exposed to this. So teachers are ringing the chime and the majority of the class is being quiet, so then the other kids that even didn't go to the program are following what they're doing.
Oh,
so they really become kindergarten ambassadors to our students, and so it does, that they become, they're comfortable with the school environment because they're being taught in the school that they're going to, and also they're being taught by the staff that they're going to see, because the majority of staff in the program are Hyannis, all but one are Hyannis West staff. So they get to see familiar people in the hallway. It might be their teacher that they have, because we haven't placed our kindergarten students yet. We base it on what we see at Jump Start program, so we can better meet their needs as well.
It's so interesting. That's such a great philosophy there. And they may also be meeting some students that they're going to interact with too.
That's another piece too.
So that takes a lot of stress and anxiety, because I know sometimes social is a huge worry for children, and even at that young age.
It is. So the familiarization, I think, with the school, with the program, with the teachers, I think that's a huge benefit, but also to the families too, because some of our families who are new, this is their first child going to school, it's a great way to release some of their anxiety too, that they can kind of ease into the school year.
I remember, I'll never forget dropping the little ones off for kindergarten. There's tears as a parent. It's crazy, but this will kind of help alleviate that for parents as well.
It does. They get to meet the staff, they get to see the school, they get to see their child in that environment, and it really helps to make them feel better for the start of school.
Wow, great. So if anyone wants to learn more about the program, how can they learn more?
Well, they can certainly go to our website. There's information there. But I'd like to take the opportunity to encourage maybe parents for next year, because it's ending tomorrow for this summer. But for next year is to get your child registered early when registration starts, because if you wait until late in the summer to register your child, you've already missed out on the program. So if you want to get into the Title I Jump Start program at Hyannis West, make sure if your child is registered or slated to go to Hyannis West because they live in our area, then just get them registered when the registration process opens, and then they're all eligible at that point.
Great. Thank you so much for stopping by and telling us all about the great Kindergarten Jump Start program. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Sarah.
Our guest today, Kathy Amato, principal at Hyannis West Elementary School. Now we'll check in with Cotuit Cavaliers President Paul Logan.
I'm here with President Paul Logan of the Cotuit Cavaliers. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
So let's start off by talking a little bit about the history of the Cotuit Cavaliers organization.
Sure thing. Cotuit has had a franchise since 1947. So Cavaliers, this is our 71st year of Cotuit Cavaliers baseball. We have a pretty neat organization. We've got passionate volunteers, passionate fans, great coaching staff, and we've had quite a number of good teams over the years, and we serve the Cotuit community as a tourist attraction at Lowell Park.
And you guys have a great fan base, and you're halfway through the season. How have the fans been, and how has the half of the season been so far, and what do you look forward to for the next half?
Well, I can tell you, as far as Cotuit, we want to win. Every Cape League franchise wants to win. It's always more fun when you win than lose.
Yeah.
At the same time, we've had our ups and downs the past few seasons. At the same time, the fans still come strong.
Yeah.
Whether we're winning the championship or finishing in last place, we still have an incredible fan base that loves to see Cotuit Cavaliers baseball.
And how does the Cape really interact with you guys? Because I know the Cape and Cape Cod Baseball League obviously have a really rich history. How do your fans really make an impact with you guys? How do you keep the tradition so lively?
I think we offer some new, fresh ideas, things we do not only at Lowell Park, but also with social media, plus our website that we've had for many years. We have a wonderful yearbook. We just have people that want to come out and see a good baseball. They enjoy coming to the field. If it's families that have young children, they enjoy coming to a public park in a town that is Barnstable, that has so many offerings, and this is a wonderful place for them to enjoy themselves.
How can locals and people far and near help contribute to the Cavalier history, whether interning or being a ball boy? How can they get involved with that?
Sure. all Cape Cod Baseball League franchises are nonprofit. And so for every dollar that we spend, we have to raise.
Right.
And for that reason, you've got 10 franchises not competing against each other off the field, but more competing on the field. But as far as off the field, to your question, there are so many things that each of the 10 franchises do. In Cotuit, we've got approximately 21 interns annually, and they come from near and far. We've got interns from all over the country, similar to the player base. Players come from all over the United States, from NCAA colleges. And with the intern base as well as the volunteer base, the intern base comes from all over the country to come here to work for the Cavaliers for summer. As far as the fan base, there are fans not only in the town, in the village of Barnstable, but all the other villages in the town, in addition surrounding towns, Mashpee, Sandwich, we have some Falmouth fans, we've got Yarmouth fans that come to Cotuit, as well as all snowbirds that come here, and they love Cavaliers baseball, and as a result, not only do we receive many of our donations from fans locally, but we also receive numerous donations from around the country.
Speaking of longtime fans, do you want to explain the Have a Hit that we can hear all
Sure.
the time at the game when the Cavaliers are up and doing well?
Absolutely. Ivan Partridge was a Cavaliers volunteer for 50 years. A Cavaliers fan for 50 years, a volunteer for 30 years. Unfortunately, Ivan passed away in April, and Ivan had coined the phrase many years ago, have a hit. And about 5 years ago, our PA announcer, Roy Reese, reached out to Ivan, where he was staying, and recorded a brief have a hit. And it lives at Lowell Park, and even though we were very saddened to have lost Ivan in April, he gave us so much with his personality.
Yeah.
And as people here when they come here, even though Ivan just passed away, have a hit will be here forever.
He really seems to rally the crowd though too, so
Absolutely.
that's pretty awesome.
He rallied the crowd not only to get us talking, but also to garner donations.
Yeah.
Which is obviously something we need to do.
Speaking of donations and everything else coming up, we have the All-Star game coming up, and you guys
Yes.
have 5 players going. How exciting is it to have that coming up? I think, what is it, August 2nd at
It's
Wareham?
actually July 22nd.
Oh, okay.
So Cotuit's very fortunate. We have 5 players, as you mentioned, and on Saturday they'll be playing in Wareham at 6 p.m. And the Cape League All-Star Game is one of the one of the showcases of the season. Next to the playoffs, the Cape League All-Star Game has so many fans. There's so many events there. There's a home run derby. There are autograph signings. And this year, we're very fortunate to have 5 players go.
That's so exciting.
It really is. We've had a fairly good season. We're in first place as of today.
That's awesome.
And we hope to finish in first place. And like all 10 franchises, we want to win the championship.
Well, good luck with that. And also, playoffs are coming up
Yes.
very soon, and that's August 2nd to around August 13th-ish?
Yeah, they finish on August 13th, and 8 of the 10 teams make it, so we're all jockeying for position right now.
Yep.
Next up, Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority Administrator Tom Kerr. So Tom, really excited to talk with you about some budget increases that may be coming your way. Talk to me a little bit about this. I think something to do with now they are counting ferry data when it comes to looking at your budget. Tell me a little bit about this and why your budget will be seeing an increase.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. You know, we the regional transit authorities, we depend on federal funds and state funds and local assessments for all that we do, and there's not too many quasi-public entities that have that kind of funding mechanism. So we're constantly looking at ways to, receive as much funding as we can to do what we need to do. And the lion's share of our funding comes from the federal government, the Federal Transit Administration. So we have various formula funds, various categories of formula funds that we have to use for certain aspects of what we do, whether it's purchasing vehicles or whether it's helping with bike and ped activities in the region, that type of thing. So we meet very regularly as a staff, a senior staff here on Monday and Wednesdays particularly. And about a year ago, we thought, we have, and I don't want to get too technical because it gets a bit confusing, but the government identifies regions across the country whether it's rural or urban or whatever. And we happen to be in what is called an urbanized zone, which includes all of Cape Cod and a couple of towns just off the Cape, like in Wareham and Plymouth. And so we are identified as an urbanized zone, a UZA. So all of the funds that come into this region, federal funds for transportation, they come to the Regional Transit Authority, which is us, and we are called the designated recipient of all of those funds. So what we do is we have to work with our transportation partners, whether it's the intercity bus, Peter Pan or Plymouth and Brockton, or other transportation partners, to report certain numbers and aspects of what it is we do, which results in federal funding coming back to the region. So some time ago we talked about, well, we've got these beautiful, important transportation modes, Highline and Steamship Authority, and what are the possibilities of including those miles from the islands to Hyannis and the islands to Woods Hole, and including the passengers that they travel, because those are the factors that really tick off the money that comes back to the region. So we contacted FTA about a year ago and said, what about ferries being included? And they said, well, yes, there are a few places in the country that, in Seattle most notably, but other areas that include ferries. So we talked to the Steamship Authority at the time, Wayne Lamson, and also Bob Davis, who succeeded Wayne recently. And we said, it's somewhat of an arduous process to track all of the riders and the miles and all of this stuff, and then report them to us, and then report them to the FTA. But we think it would be worth our while if we did so. So they were very, very accommodating. They worked with us, and after a period of time, a few months of getting all of their information in order, we submitted them to FTA, and they were approved. So we were very pleased. And then we weren't certain exactly how much money would be coming back to the region as a result, because Congress kept delaying their action on the budget and pushing it down the road and kicking the can down the road. But eventually, when they made the authorization and the appropriation, it turns out that we found an additional $3.4 million that comes back to the Barnstable UZA. Now, that money comes to us, and if we wanted to, we could keep it all at the RTA, but we're working in a multimodal committee with our partners, and we're working with them to try to provide some funding to each of those entities so that they can buy capital resources and things they may need to improve their particular service. So it's kind of a long-winded explanation, but it's an exciting opportunity because resources are so limited with the limitations facing all of government now with deficits and the like. So we were very pleased, and we're going to be working with the town of Barnstable in particular. Mark Elder's on our board and very adamant about certain things that we do in transportation, and he's been a great supporter of ours, and we're trying to work with him and his parking folks now to try to identify some of the ways that we can put those resources to address the parking challenges down at the harbor and out at Exit 6 and at the airport and the like. So a lot of good has come from this, and we hope that in subsequent years, we will continue to see these resources coming back to our region.
Yeah, so important, I think. We have such a great system here, and to be able to improve it or get a budget increase is a win-win really for everyone, especially all the people that would be benefiting from the money, including residents here on the Cape and Islands. So very, very important for that, to see that happen.
Indeed, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it, Tom. Thank you for telling us all about that. And of course, we look forward to chatting with you in the near future.
Thank you, Sarah, very much.
All right, have a great day.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. My guest today, of course, CCRTA Administrator Tom Kerr. Now we're going to visit Old Barnstable Fairgrounds Golf Course to chat with Bruce McIntyre about some recent updates. So Bruce, being here at Old Barnstable is so amazing. There have been such great renovations that have taken place recently.
Absolutely.
Talk to me a little bit about some of the renovations that have been made.
Sure. Renovations started in actually February of this winter. We replaced the entire exterior deck of the building. We replaced all the railings, the columns. We've put up new awnings. All the doors and windows in the building have been replaced. The clubhouse has been completely painted inside and outside. I think that's about it. There's a couple of minor things. We're waiting for a brand new sign to go on the front of the building, but essentially that pretty much covers it. I think we got around the basics. You know, in the future we're looking for furniture and fixtures and some more upgrades.
The first thing I noticed coming today was this beautiful porch, and it is just amazing. And you have a new restaurant too, the Tavern on the Green.
Tavern on the Green.
Yep. I think it's quickly going to become a hot spot because this is a great spot to come and sit.
It is a great spot. You don't have to be a golfer to come up here and enjoy Tavern on the Green. Obviously we cater to our golfers, but the outside here on the deck overlooking the Marston's Mills Airport across the way, great spot to watch sunset.
Watch the planes
the
come and
biplanes
go.
are coming and going. If you every once in a while you'll hear someone scream and you can't find them, they probably just jumped out of an airplane, and you can watch skydivers come down. It's got a little something for everyone. The food is outstanding. You know, they're making a good go of it and trying to push a new dinner menu now. So Thursday through Sunday, he'll be open till 8 o'clock. They're going to be doing different things. They're going to be doing barbecues and fish fries, etc., etc. Targeted to anyone. Again, it's a great little spot to come by. Maybe sit down and have a refreshing drink and an hors d'oeuvre and watch the world go by.
I love it. It's such a beautiful spot here to watch the world go by.
It sure is. Yep.
And of course, it's the 25th anniversary of the golf course, so you have a lot of really cool things happening to celebrate those 25 years.
Again, we started early in the season. We've been using the 25th theme. The 25th of every month, we've either had deep discounted greens fees or 25% off in the pro shop on merchandise and clothing. We're going to kind of cap it off with July 25th with a large golf outing. In the morning, we'll be having a 9-hole tournament for our 9-hole and super seniors that come out and play every day, followed by a luncheon. And at 1 o'clock the 25th afternoon, we're going to be having an 18-hole golf tournament, followed by appetizers and a lot of prizes and hopefully a lot of fun. We're not trying to make money on it. We're trying to pay back a little bit to the golfers who've been around and supported us for 25 years so far.
Wonderful. I'm sure they're very excited about some of these events. I want to talk to you too a little bit. If someone isn't familiar with the town of Barnstable's golf courses, what are the fees to join and to take part in the golf course?
Well, the fees are, as far as we have annual pass holders and we have non-resident pass holders, and there are different age groups. If you're an adult over the age of 30, it costs you $950 as a resident for unlimited play at both courses.
Wow.
For $300 more, for $1,250 as a non-resident, you can join and get the same privileges for $1,250. Now that's a heck of a deal. We actually have pushing 200 full non-resident members. We also have young adult fees, which are under 30 in the $500 range, and as well we have junior and student rates too. So junior rates, we're looking this year as a change. We're going to be reducing our junior rates to somewhere in the $150 range, and then we'll have a student rate. If you're a full-time student up to the age of 22, it'll be like $265. We're pretty much the only municipal course or the municipal golf course operation on the Cape that also offers a resident discount. You don't have to be a member, but just by simply being a resident of the town of Barnstable throughout the year, you will be able to play at a discounted rate.
Now try and put this in perspective for me. So do you know how that would compare to, say, a private golf course in the area?
Oh, much, much less expensive, absolutely. You know, our goal has always been to try to provide private club conditions at a public course price. If you were to join one of the local private clubs, and you know the town has plenty of private clubs. We have Oyster Harbors and Wayano and Hyannisport, 3 big ones, just to name a few. You know, you're talking 5- and 6-figure initiation fees, and anywhere from a low of $5,000 or $6,000 per person up to $15,000 to $20,000 per year. That doesn't include carts. It doesn't include your mandated food and beverage chits that you have to pay on a monthly basis. So, you know, our goal has always been reasonably priced golf, but at the same time, we want to offer up real good conditions.
And the conditions are amazing. Like just looking over here, I could just sit and look. I think at the golf course just because it's so beautiful. Not a golfer myself, maybe something I need to pick up.
Yep.
If I wanted to pick up golfing,
Yep.
Do you have lessons and that
Absolutely.
kind of thing available?
Well, we've got PGA professionals at both golf courses. Mary Hallway is the head pro here at Hyannis. Jesse Scheckman is the head pro other way around, Old Barnstable, and Jesse's at Hyannis. They give lessons. We also have a teaching pro, Dave Donnellan at Hyannis, who runs our First Tee program, as well as he runs some great ladies clinics to bring women in to teach them the game of golf. They learn how to play 9 holes. It's a great time. So if you want to learn how to play the game of golf, you can certainly get lessons here. No doubt.
If anyone's watching and didn't maybe know about the golf courses here in Barnstable, where should they go to learn more?
Outside of contacting and coming to the pro shops directly and talking to a human, www.barnstablegolf.com pretty much has all the information you need. Whether you want to book a tee time, whether you want information about the courses or about the restaurants, about the staff, and also
Now we'll find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. If you have a loved one that enjoys playing with Legos, you can head to the Sturgis Library. The library will be building a giant birthday cake out of Legos for the library's 150th anniversary. The Lego event will be held Wednesday, August 2nd from 4 to 5 p.m. There will be a wildlife ranger talk on Thursday, August 3rd with Natural Resource Officer Amy Croteau. During Croteau's talk, you will learn about the town of Barnstable's local wildlife, in addition to learning about the daily and seasonal habits of these animals. The talk will be held from 4:30 to 5:30 at Bismore Park in Hyannis. That talk, of course, is free to attend. Well, there are no board, committee, or commission meetings today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. On tomorrow's show, we'll chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. We'll check in with DPW Director Dan Santos and so much more. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.